Hey folks, welcome. This is 108 Stitches, which is a mostly knitting video podcast series, and my name is Emily, and I am welcoming you this morning. It is Thursday, February 17th, so normally I record on the weekends, but it's been a really busy bit of time for me and for us, and it's about to be busy some more. So I'm trying to squeeze this in the morning before I start my work for the day on a Thursday, and I'm just glad to be able to get the time to chat with all of you. Yeah, lots of exciting stuff to talk about. Let me remember the things that I want to say at the beginning here. So, yep, my name is Emily. I live in Seattle, Washington with my husband Nafis and our pup Norman. Who knows if Norman will make an appearance. He was pretty active in the podcast last week, so if you are interested in meeting Norman, last episode, episode 35 is a good place to start. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing really well. February always seems like kind of a slow, like dreary month for me. Without baseball and in Seattle, it's definitely not the best weather of the year. It's often very cloudy and rainy. So I normally get really good knitting time done in February, just like really good knitting vibes, I think, in the winter. But unfortunately, the last week or so, there was actually 3 days in a row, I think, that I didn't knit at all, which is just bonkers. It's just been really busy. So yeah, luckily it has been long enough since last time I recorded that I do have some fun stuff to share with you all, even though I didn't knit the last couple days. And I am going to try not to forget everything. I'm going to try to go through and I did try to take notes today before going through it, but we've got a giveaway winner, which is really exciting. So stay tuned if you commented on my last YouTube video and were entered into the giveaway to win some gorgeous yarn. Definitely stay tuned because I'll be announcing that. But first, let's just go straight into some of the stuff I've been knitting. I guess I actually have some non-knitting content. A couple things. The first is my only finished object of this episode is a weaving finished object. So some of you, if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen me post about this in my stories. And I talked about this on the podcast a while ago. But I wanted to weave, well, I wanted to get back into weaving. It had been a long time since I'd woven. I got this Cricut loom as a gift, I think, from my parents, when I was in high school, maybe. Or maybe when I was in college, but it was a long time ago. And I had this idea to use a plain black warp and then use leftover fingering weight yarns that I had either from mini skeins or just from projects. Oh, Norman is going to hit the tripod. Norman, let me help you. Yeah, so for those of you that have watched before, you know that Norman, my pup, really likes to be covered by a blanket when he sleeps, and he does this weird digging thing where he tries to get himself under the blanket if I'm not there to help him. And he was digging himself into the tripod, so I had to go and help him so that he wouldn't knock the camera over. Anyway, yes, so I decided that I wanted to warp the loom with some plain black yarn, so I used just I think it was Cascade Heritage, which is just a standard, I think it's 75-25 merino nylon sock yarn that I had just in my stash, and I didn't warp it long enough. I wish that the scarf was longer. I don't really know how blocking works with weaving. I also clearly do not know how finishing works. I have not finished the ends yet. I don't know how to do that. I'm nervous because it seems like the end colors are unweaving, so I definitely need to figure that out. That is a task for future Emily. But I finished it. I just used leftovers and minis, and I just went for as long as I felt and organized them in kind of rainbow order. I started on this pink side, and then I went through red, orange, yellow, green, blue. And I actually had some purples that I was going to put on here, but I ran out of space. you can tell that the like green blue part went much faster than like the red, orange, yellow part, which you may not expect from me because I love blue, and like most of my mini skeins are like blue and green, so I had to accelerate through those to get through. But I have plenty that I could definitely make another one of these, and I probably will at some point. I have other weaving projects on my mind, but I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I am going to try to wash it. It's a little bit short to wear. Like I don't even know if I could get it. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I think if I washed it and it softened a little bit, I could wear it like this, kind of. What do y'all think? Is it too short to wear? I could also use it as like a, you know, like a table runner or something for the short part of the table. Like put it on the short way. But yeah, I really love how it turned out. I think it's beautiful, and it was a really good kind of project to get me back into weaving, remember how to warp the loom, that kind of stuff. And it went so quickly. Y'all, I can't even tell you. I did this mostly in like 2 days. Just like sat down, you know, a couple times and finished it. So really, really quick project, really fun. I'm remembering that I should also tell you guys what I'm wearing. I'm not a very good podcaster. I know always when I am watching a podcast, 1, I'm always interested in what they're wearing, and 2, they always tell you, and I forget all the time. And sometimes y'all will comment and ask me what I'm wearing, and I'll respond there, but I need to remember. This is another goal of mine to be better at, so I'm going to remember. What I'm wearing today is the Woodwardia Pullover, which is a pattern that is from the Set Raglan book, which is a pom-pom publication. And I believe the pattern is designed by Lydia Gluck. And it has these beautiful little like fern detail in the raglan increase. And I chose to do a turtleneck with it. And I think I talked about this at one point. Sorry, I did not mean to talk about this so much, but I did talk about how mine was like stretching out here quite a bit. Like the neckline wasn't staying up nice and tight, and it was making the turtleneck like a little weird and not right close to my neck. So what I actually did is I took a strand of yarn and I fed it around the neckline, and then whenever I put this sweater on, I actually just tie it in a knot to tighten it up around the neck. And then afterward, after I'm done wearing it, I want to take it off, I just untie it, stretch it back out, and I pull it off. I don't know if that's like a weird thing to do, but that's the way that I figured to make the neck work the way that I want to. I think if I knit this sweater again, instead of doing the turtleneck, I would do a folded neckline. I really love the way that the folded neckline works, and I actually really want to knit this sweater again. I was thinking about, I have some DK weight yarn that I got from the Love Stitch, and I think it would make a really pretty Woodwardia, and I could do the folded neckline. I just love the shaping. It's just a really fun fit. I really like it. So, and the yarn I used, sorry, I did not mean to talk about this. I've already talked about the sweater. I knit it a while ago. But the yarn that I used for this is Grenouille, of course. It is her DK weight base, which is an 8515 merino nylon. And it is so squishy and soft. If you have not used this base before, I highly recommend it. I've knit a ton of things out of it now, hats, sweaters, everything. And the colorway is Woormwood, which is one of my favorites. And I really love the way that the sweater turned out. So that is what I'm wearing. And I showed that was my only finished object. So everything else is an in-progress thing for me. Got a ton of stuff over here, so we'll see how I'm able to get through it all. But my first work in progress is my second. I have been calling these diamond socks, but they actually have a name. So this is a new pattern that I wrote, patterned by Emily Curtis. That's me. And we are in testing right now, so thank you so much for everyone who applied to test, and for those of you that are testing these socks, thank you so much. I have a great group of testers, and I cast on my second sock a little while ago to knit along with my testers. So this was the first one, is nice and blocked and beautiful, and this is, yes, like I mentioned, a pattern from my own brain. The yarn is Sunday Fiber Co. in her Barefoot organic merino sock. I may have said those words in the wrong order, but I think all the words are right. Really beautiful. The pattern has 2 sizes, a 60 stitch size and a 72 stitch size. And this is the 60 stitch size, and I'm going to gauge is my own because I wrote the pattern, but to get gauge I use a size 0 needle. And here's my second one. So this sock I cast on and hadn't done a ton. I'd done maybe just like the cuff and like a little bit until 2 nights ago, and then in one night I knit the whole rest of the leg, and the next night I did, or I think I may have even done the heel flap that night, and then last night or yesterday I did the heel turn and the whole gusset and a little bit of the foot. So it just, I don't know, I of course I'm gonna be biased, but I really like this pattern. I think it's really fun and intuitive and like easy to knit. There's one tricky part where you have to do like one of the twisted stitches over the beginning of the round, which is a little bit tricky, just figuring out how that works with the different rounds and how to put the marker back in and everything. But otherwise, I think it's a pretty approachable knit. So if you are thinking about trying a new sock pattern, stay tuned. This one, I'm not sure yet when it will be released. Still working things out, and you know, we got to finish up testing and everything. But if you're thinking about a new sock pattern, maybe consider, oh, there's a name for it now. I was going to say that and I totally forgot. The name of these socks is the Almost Argyle Socks. So I was inspired by a comment that my husband made about how the stitch pattern in here with the diamonds looks like colorless argyle. So it looks like textured argyle instead of like what you would expect color work argyle to look like. And so I decided, you know, you got to go for the alliteration. I decided to name them the Almost Argyle Socks. So yeah, stay tuned for more information about those. And yeah, the test knitting is going really well, and I'm really happy with how this pattern is going. So that's my first work in progress. Another work in progress that I have, which is, I forgot, I put it over here. Here it is. Which is a another design of mine, and I shared about this a little bit last episode. So I had showed you guys this swatch, and I had these ideas for this idea for these like slanty intarsia stripes. So let me give you a little bit of a closer look here if you don't remember from last time. So yeah, these stripes that like partway through change color on this like diagonal line using intarsia. Really easy, quick intarsia, not definitely approachable and not too difficult to manage. But I had also showed you guys the yarn I was thinking about using for it, and this is the yarn. I am using Stress Knit's Favorite, which is an 80-20 fingering weight base. Oh, Norman is smacking the tripod again. Norman, what are you doing, bud? Dude, what's going on? Okay, I don't know if he got hot or what, but he just came out from underneath the blanket. Also, look at my very cute little mug. Very cute. I got this when we were traveling on vacation last year. What is the name of the town? I can't think of it right now. We were like in the Blue Ridge Mountains. We were traveling down. We started at Shenandoah National Park and then traveled south down the Blue Ridge Highway. Is that the word for it? I think so. Into like Great Smoky Mountain, Asheville. Sorry, into Great Smoky Mountain National Park, and then we drove back through. And on our last day, we went to like a little craft fair in Asheville, and I got a couple items there, and one of them was this very sweet tumbler. I think the potter, like the maker for this, is called With Her Hands. I'll try to link her Instagram down below if you're interested. I have another mug from her that I really like. Okay, Norman came to visit. What was I saying? So this is, drop my yarn. This is Stress Knit's Favorite. This is her Eloise colorway. And then I got her fall mini set, which were inspired by pumpkins. So cute. And I thought that went pretty well with this main color. I don't know. It's just like very fall and kind of moody, I guess. And I was a little bit unsure about the orange, if you guys remember me talking about last time. And I had also pulled this mini from a small advent I've gotten from Stress Knits. Oh shoot, I was going to say this at the beginning of the episode and I completely forgot. Stop everything. Now that I'm thinking about Stacy and her yarn. Okay. I'm very chaotic today. I feel like just hectic, my brain, but I feel like that's true every time. All right, Norman is going to come sit with me while we do this. Come here. Come here. You can't just sit and look at me and not expect me to give you love. Yeah. Okay, Norman is here. Okay, so last episode, I mentioned that I had a big kind of surge in followers and subscribers, people coming over and checking out my YouTube channel, and just very much got kind of like caught up in that and mentioned that I think a lot of you came over because Stacy of Stress Knits mentioned me on her podcast a couple weeks ago on her, I guess she's doing like a monthly makes, like reflecting on the things she made in the last month and her goals for the next month, which is so cool. I really love that format. That structure is really nice. But anyway, she is making a shawl in the Brioche-licious shawl that I made a while back and picked out the same colors that I'd used for it and mentioned on her video about my shawl and about my podcast and said some really nice and lovely things about me. And I think because my energy is a little bit hectic and chaotic at times, it's easy for me to get very caught up and just like my head goes and I'm spinning, and I did not take the appropriate time to step back and just say, wow, one, for all of you that came over from Stacy's podcast, thank you so much for coming over and checking my podcast out, and I'm so glad that you're here. Two, Stacy is just the most incredible person. I love everything that she knits. I love all of her yarn. I'm literally using her yarn right now and have some more of her yarn on the way that I bought from her last update. So Stacy is amazing. And then also, for those of you that may not have been come over from Stacy's or may not be familiar with Stacy's podcast or her yarn, please go check it out. You definitely should. She is just so lovely, and her color palette is just gorgeous and just a very nice and kind human that you should just go support. So yeah, I will include her information below. I often include her information when I talk about her yarn, but both her podcast and like her Instagram, lovely, all really great, wholesome and lovely content from Stacy. So please check out her stuff if you haven't already. Her podcast is called Stress Knits, and she does some really cool videos there as well. She's done like an Ask a Dyer series, which is really cool. And she also talks some about plants. And yeah, just definitely. She also has a fun pup, which is very sweet. So I literally made a note. It was like, please, Emily, remember to say lovely things about Stacy because she absolutely deserves it at the beginning of your podcast. And then I forgot because my brain is bleh. But I remembered now. I'm glad I stopped and took a second to do that. But I am working on this new design I talked about last time with these Argyle stripes. I'm using Stacy's yarn. I was a little bit unsure about this orange color. And so I had pulled this other color, this purple, which is called Cold Brew, and was in one of her, it was like an Advent colorway a couple years ago that I also really liked and kind of thought it fit with the palette. And so I'm not really sure if I'll include this one, but I did go ahead and go for the orange. And let me show you guys. So I cast this on and I have done a couple of stripes. And like I mentioned, I haven't knit a ton recently, but I knit all of this in like 2 days because it was just like really, I don't know, the stripes are always like very potato chippy for me. So anyway, here it is, and it's going to be like a little bit of a oversized, it's curling up because it's stockinette right now, but it's going to be a little bit of like an oversized look. I've done 2 stripes, so I did just some twisted rib on the bottom. I love a 2x1 twisted rib. It's just, I don't know, it feels perfect to me. But I have done these stripes now, so here's the first like color change. So this one will be like if you, I don't know if you guys can see this very well, but if I wear it like a vest, right, you can see that this color change will be kind of on the right front, and you can see the little stripe, and then the other color change I've done was pretty close to the left front. You can see it here. So I started off with, ooh, wow, holding it up like that, y'all, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or anything, but like I am obsessed with this. I feel like this is really cool. I love these stripes. This is just very, very fun. But anyway, yeah, so I started my first one, I started with the like really light pink color and I went to the darker green. And then on the second one, I did the mint and switched pretty quickly to the orange color. So you can see that there. So I'm about ready to add my third stripe and I'm not sure what color I'm going to do next. I have in my head, like I'm doing way too much thinking about the color and like color management and kind of like what you know, if you look at all these colors, I'm like, okay, I don't want any of the light ones to be with each other. Like I want there to be higher contrast, but there are only two darker ones, just like the green and the orange. And so then like, am I basically just alternating between green and orange and then like switching the contrast color or the like lighter color? I don't know. So maybe I'll just like bite the bullet and put two of the lighter colors together. Like I think this would be okay. Maybe I could do this one next, the like white and light green. Because I also kind of want to see these ones together. And by together, I mean like on the same stripes. You actually won't see them together super often, like vertically. I don't know if this makes any sense. But anyway, this one is still, you know, pretty early on in the design stage. So, you know, I wouldn't say like stay tuned super closely for any information about this because it's still, I still have to finish knitting my first sample and like write the pattern and get everything figured out about it. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this is going and I'm really excited about it. And yeah, this yarn is just lovely to work with and I love the colors, the way it's turning out. It is winter, so you know, I'm getting definitely fall vibes from that and that's okay, but yeah, I've really enjoyed working on that. And then my last, oops, this goes here too. My last work in progress is my marble mount pullover. So this is a pattern by Locatelli. And I've told this story a billion times, but I actually met Hohi when she was on vacation. She and her family were visiting the North Cascades, and Nafis and I also were taking like a weekend trip there, and we met them on a hiking trail. And the area like around the North Cascades, it's called, there's like a little town there called Marble Mount, and that's actually I think where we stayed and like where we ate dinner and stuff. And so I actually saw her at dinner one evening. We were like eating dinner at the same place, and she was like winding up yarn for like a new design, and it was this beautiful gray yarn. And I was like, okay, Nafis, if she releases a pattern with that yarn, like I really want to knit it because I want to knit what she was working on when like we met. I don't know if that's a weird thing. Am I being like a weird kind of creepy person right now? I really hope not. But anyway, she released this pattern called Marble Mount, and I knew in a second that that was the pattern that she'd been working on because one, Marble Mount is the name of the area that we were visiting, and two, it was just that beautiful gray yarn, and I knew it. So I cast on, and last week, or not last week, I keep saying last week, I'm not regular enough to say last week. Last time I podcasted, I showed you all I was working on the yoke, and I finished the yoke and have split for the sleeves and have done maybe, let's see here, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches, 3.5 inches, maybe 4 inches of the body, just straight stockinette for a while. This yarn that I'm using is Grenouille in her fingering weight singles base. It's just 100% superwash merino. And it is so soft. This is the softest singles base I've ever used. I don't know why, it's just like incredibly soft. It's really, really lovely to work with, and the colorway is 3 Sisters, and I'll show you guys in yarn form. Here it is. Really beautiful. Here's a skein of it as well. You can see that I haven't caked up yet. So really nice, just kind of like moody blue turquoise color with like brown and dark blue specks in it. I have been alternating skeins using the helical method throughout, and it was a little bit weird during the lace yoke doing the helical method. I don't know if I would do that again, because if I came across lace sections when I I don't know how many of you have used like helical knitting before, but I don't think I'm going to explain the whole thing here because that would take too much time. But for those of you that know how helical knitting works, maybe you're thinking right now, like, yeah, Emily, you definitely shouldn't do that for a pattern or for lace or whatever. But basically, like, when you switch yarns, you like leave a couple of stitches in between, just like slip them. And so when I got to the point where I was doing lace and I had to like slip those stitches, those would just like not have the lace pattern in them. So I just kind of adjusted so that that never happened on the lace. And I don't know if it worked out okay. It's like, it looks fine, so I'm okay with it. I don't think there's like a problem. There may not be like perfect kind of, like the lace may not be perfectly on the right rows. I don't know if this is making any sense. Probably not. I feel like I'm speaking nonsense, but basically it was weird and I don't know if I would do it for lace again, but it worked out fine and I'm not unhappy with it. So it was just kind of stressful and I was like trying to adjust all the time. But now that I'm back to stockinette, I'm happy to be doing helical stripes. Totally fine. The reason I really wanted to, I mean, I know that I should always alternate skeins, and I don't always do a great job of that, but I really wanted to this time because I could tell quite a bit of difference between my two skeins of yarn that I first caked up. One of them had more of those kind of like brown and blue, like darker speckles, and the other one was quite a bit lighter. So I wanted to alternate to make sure that I didn't have like a big break in the color if I just did one and then the other. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do for the sleeves. I guess I'm just hoping that my last skein is like consistent enough and matches the others well enough that I can just use it for the sleeves and I'll be okay. I guess I could like switch it in now with one of the skeins and then save it to like alternate on the sleeves. I'm not sure. I probably won't do that. I'm probably just going to use the one other skein for the sleeves and hope it works out. But yeah, I am knitting the 3rd size and using a US size 3 needle. And actually, where is this? So I'm going to show this in the acquisition section, but I did order, someone recommended, I'd known about these, I didn't realize how small they went, but someone recommended that I grab the Chiagoo Shorties, and I actually have the Chiagoo Shorties in the larger sizes, so like I think US like 4 through 8, but they have a set in the smaller sizes, so this one I believe is 0 through 3, US 0 through 3. I actually haven't looked at these yet. But I hate Magic Loop and I don't have my interchangeable set. My Shorties, like I mentioned, only goes down to 4, and since I'm using US 3 for these, I had to get like small circumference US 3 needles so that I could do the sleeves that way, and so I went ahead and just got the sets because I think this will be really good for my socks as well. I can use the US size 0s for my socks and have another set of those. So I did, that is one acquisition I have. I haven't used these yet, but I'm planning to as soon as I get to the sleeves on this sweater. So yeah, maybe this is ambitious. I'm hoping I can finish this sweater by the end of the month, which is what, like 10 days from now? Today's the 17th, so is that doable? I'm not sure. I would like to finish, at the very least, I'd like to finish this sock. I mean, I definitely need to finish this sock, and that'll take like one more day. And that sweater by the end of the month. And then I had some other stuff that maybe was a tad ambitious to try to finish by the end of the month, and I probably won't make that. But at the very least, that sweater and that sock I want to finish by the end of February. So that is all of my knitting. That's my works in progress and my finished objects. That's what I've been working on. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about, I already started talking about acquisitions, so maybe I should talk about acquisitions as well right now, the rest of my acquisitions. So I mentioned some of this on the last episode. Sorry, I've got other yarn here that we'll talk about more in a second, but I did get the yarn to try, sorry for that sound, crinkly. I did get the yarn to try and make that woven like Pendleton style blanket that I mentioned last week on the pod, or I keep saying last episode. But I did order some palette yarn from Knit Picks, which is a fingering weight yarn. It's a non-superwash wool, And my plan, if you are unfamiliar, if you didn't catch me talking about it last time, I'm planning to weave several strips of fabric and then seam them together and felt them to make a large, like, retro Pendleton style felted blanket. And so I got, this color is Oyster Heather. I got this kind of like beige color for the main color. And then I got a few skeins that I was going to decide between for like some contrasting stripes. So these are the colors that I bought. Here they are. And I was definitely going for like a retro primary color vibe. So y'all know I love a dark red. I saw these two blues also and was like really excited about them, and I also really like them together. So like these three I think are probably my like core that I really love, and then I was thinking about adding one of the yellow or the orange. So you guys tell me what you think. Let me do it not on the side with the label. Maybe, I'm trying to show this well. Nope, it's dropping. I'm going to drop it in my tea. That's not going to be good. See if I can, this is not, I'm not doing a good job of this. All right, can I get 3 in one hand and then 2 in the other? Yeah, so here they are. Let me just, let's try not to show the labels, just the colors. Wow. Not super competent today, but here they are. What do y'all think? What do you guys think? I'm thinking either use all of them or drop the orange and just use these 4. I think that's the way that I want to go. These 4. I don't know. We'll see. I may just end up using all 5 of them, but anyway, I'm going to do the blanket mostly that like beigey white color, and then I'm just going to do stripes with these colors. And hopefully it will turn out cute. I think the colors will be cute. So I don't know. I expressed some concern about like getting the stripes to line up properly when I steam it, and some of you had some really thoughtful comments and like helpful suggestions, and I actually did check out the Pearl Soho woven blanket that is seamed, like has the panels that are seamed up, and it didn't really occur to me that I could just like count the rows of woven, like the stacked rows that I've woven, and that would be a really good way to make sure that it's consistent. I have concerns because I think with my knitting, I have really high confidence that I can keep my gauge consistent throughout, just because it's really natural to me, but the weaving is not so much. So I do have a little bit of a concern that like, even if I count the rows properly, when I seam it, it won't line up properly because my weaving gauge changed over time. Is weaving gauge a thing? I don't know what the name for that is, but anyway, that's my only concern about it. But I think hopefully it'll work out, and I'm gonna go for it. I probably won't, I guess cast on is not the right term. I probably won't warp my loom for a while. I also think before I get started, I am gonna do like a test square, so kind of like a swatch, and I'm going to just like weave a small portion, probably in the cream yarn, and try to felt it and just see what happens. I don't have great strategy for how I want to felt it other than maybe just like putting it in the washing machine on warm. So if you guys have ideas or suggestions on like how to felt something, I'm totally open to that, because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm ambitious and I'm ready to give it a go. So that's where we're at. So that's one acquisition. I talked about the Chiagoo Shorties, and the other acquisition was actually unexpected. My husband, his family is from Bangladesh, and his parents just went there to visit, and they sent us a little package of some goodies, like some gifts that they got when they were there, and they got me some yarn. Sorry for the crinkly sound. So I'll just pull a couple skeins out. Unfortunately, I don't know what this is, so I don't know what the fiber content is. I don't know what weight it is. I don't know how much of it I have. I do not know, but it looks like I got 6 skeins of this like kind of brownish camel color.
and it's a little bit like shiny. Maybe a little focus so you guys can see it a little bit better. And maybe, I mean, probably not from the video. I was gonna say maybe some of you could like tell me what you think it is, but it's like pretty fuzzy. I wouldn't say it's like super soft, but it's also not scratchy. It just feels, I mean, it feels pretty woolly. Yeah, and I just don't know. I don't know what this is. So I may try to go into investigate mode and like try to do the wraps per inch or something to figure out what the weight is. And then I don't know if there are other ways I can try to figure out what the fiber content is. Truly don't know. So again, I'm out of my depth here and I'm asking you all as viewers of this episode to please help me if you know how I can figure out what this is. If there are like any tips to figure out if it's wool, if it's alpaca, if it's acrylic, whatever. Totally open to any of that. But yeah, I thought that was really thoughtful and sweet of them to send this to us. And to us, I say to us, I don't think Nofis is going to get much use out of this yarn. I figured that this was for me, so, but yeah, that is another acquisition, an unexpected acquisition that I got in the last week or two. Okay, that's all my acquisitions. What's next? I was going to talk about some yarn dyeing. So if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen I posted a picture of my most recent dyeing attempt. So I talked last episode about my first dyeing attempt with acid dyes, and I showed you all these mini skeins. These are the ones that I dyed last time. I have little post-it notes in them to mark like which one is which. And I told you that, let's see, these were the ones that I was the happiest with, but I wanted to make some adjustments. So let me start with the adjustments that I made. So I think last time I mentioned this one I was pretty happy with. This is the dark red, but I wanted it to be less purple and more red, and so I dyed this one, which I do think satisfies the less purple and more red, but I think I lost some of the depth of color that I really loved about this one. It's like not as dark. I want it to be darker, so I'm gonna try maybe the same dye stock for this one, but just more of it to make it darker. But that was attempt one, and I'm decently happy with that. And then the next one was this one I showed you all last time. I said I liked this, but it was too blue and I wanted it to be more green. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this super well, but this was the new one. My color, my light isn't great here. There we go, maybe a little bit. So you can see here, I think I achieved that. I think this is the same like depth of color that I wanted. This one I'm really happy with. I'm really happy with how it turned out, but this is, yeah, this is the dark blue that I did in my first attempt, and this is the darker kind of like teal that I was going for, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out. This is my best attempt. This is the one I'm happiest with, and I think these two are really cute too together. So I think my focus is not great right now, but you know, we'll keep going. So then what I really wanted to do was try dyeing a lighter version of this color. I wanted a very, very, okay, sorry about that, I got cut off, but what I was saying is that I dyed this like really nice dark teal, and I wanted a super light version of this color, so I wanted the same dye stock, but like almost none of it, and I tried doing like very little dye stock, and I got this. So this is the same dye stock, but different amounts. So you can definitely see the color is the same. I don't know if it will focus. Who knows? But it was still like too dark. This is not happening. Please, there we go. Yeah, so you can tell this is just like a little, well, I don't know, you don't know my brain and what I was wanting, but this color is just a little bit, still a little bit dark. I wanted it lighter than this, and so I dyed again and used even less dye, and it turned out basically the same. Like, you can't really tell the difference between these. The top one is supposed to be lighter. I used less dye on it, and it did not work out. So I'm going to try again with even less dye or something else, do something different. This is not focusing, but you guys get the point. You can see that these are the same color.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, this one's maybe a very light touch lighter, but that didn't really work out. So that's okay. We're still working through it, and I will try again. My next attempt was to make like a peachy pink, like a orangey peachy pink, and this was my first attempt at it. And it turned out much brighter and like more orange than I was wanting, so I tried again with this one, and I got something definitely lighter and more pink, but this one I think is like too pink. I think the real problem with both of these is that they're just brighter than I want. Like I want duller kind of muted colors, so I'm gonna try to figure that out next, how to do that. With all of the colors, they're just like really bright, and so I need to figure out how to mute colors. So I read a little bit about how to do that, and I don't really understand, but I think my next step is to try to dye a gray. So if I can dye a good gray, which I want to do anyway, if I can dye a good gray, then I can add a little bit of my gray dye stock to my other colors, and one, it'll make them like go together really well because they all have the same kind of like gray undertone. But also, I think it will mute the color a little bit and make it a little bit less bright. I don't know what I'm doing. This is just what I've read from the internet. So if I'm totally wrong, you can tell me that, and I will not be offended. But that is what I read. So that's what I think my next attempt is. And then my last one, I was trying to dye a like really golden, like mustard color. So like closer to yellow than orange. So you can see I'm not super happy with how this turned out. What I found is that I have this dye called persimmon, which is like a light orangey color. And I think it just, whenever I add it at all, even in very small amounts, I feel like it just takes over. I don't know. Like this one, I also added a little bit of persimmon, and it just like turned out way more orange than I wanted. This one, I did mostly a yellow dye, like a honey mustard, and I added a little bit of persimmon, and it just turned out super orange. And at first I was worried it was turning out, this one was just chaos when I was dyeing it. I put the yarn, I made the dye stock, I put the dye stock in the water, I put the yarn in, and I was like, oh, this is not going to be dark enough. So I added more dye stock, more dye stock, more dye stock, and then I was like, oh, I don't like the way this is. So I actually added some like black dye. I was like, this is gonna fix it. I don't know what happened. So I don't even know if I could recreate this. But this is my like unintentional orange color that I did not mean to dye. And actually looking at it now, I don't hate it. This is not happening. There, maybe that's a little better. I don't know. But yeah, it turned out really orange and not the like golden color that I was wanting. This one, yeah. This is, I mean, it's just very revealing right now. Sorry, please focus. Yeah. It's very revealing that I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing because I like put the dye patterns together. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely going to make the color that the very specific color that I have in my brain. This is definitely going to do that. Like, no, Emily, that's not how it works. Like, it just, I don't know. I feel like I just need to play around a little more. There's so many color options that I haven't even considered. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. I guess I'm just saying, like, I have this idea, okay, if I combine these 2 dyes or these 3 dyes or these 4 dyes in this one way, it's going to make this color that I want. But like there's so many colors in between like what I want and around what I want and like using the combination of dyes that like it's very easy to get something that's like similar to what you want but not exactly right. If that makes sense. And I guess I have just like very specific ideas in my mind of like this is the color I want. And so it's a little bit difficult. But anyway, that was my last attempt at dyeing yarn. This is just a plain bare mini skein. I ordered a ton of 10-gram minis from Knit Picks, and that's what I've been dyeing. I still have like 7 or 8 more of them, so I'll probably do another dye session. Honestly, maybe not for a while because it's going to be busy for a while, and I like to dye on the weekends. So whenever I get time again, I will probably do another one with more mini skeins and see if I can get more of the colors that I'm hoping for. So continue to make adjustments. This one is the way I want it to be. All the others I need to adjust more. So, but I can't even tell you how incredible the feeling was when this one came out and I was like, this is the color I wanted. This is what I had in mind. Like this turned out perfectly. That feeling, man, ooh, that was very, very cool. So I will certainly be chasing that feeling again. But yeah, that's my adventure in yarn dyeing. I also dyed a full skein. I was trying to dye a full skein of like this color for my friend and tech editor of my patterns, Sylvan.
And I don't think it turned out as dark, but I used the same like dye stock, so I think it turned out same color, but just like not as dark. I guess I just didn't do the proportions right when I tried to make it dye on a full skein. Like, I don't know if it's just not 1-to-1. You need to add more dye or something. Like, I thought you could just basically like multiply the ratio up. If I did this on a 20-gram skein and I wanted to dye a 100-gram skein, I thought I could just use 5 times more dye stock, but I don't know if I need to use more than that, or like maybe my water ratio was off. Anyway, this is all doing the weeds, but I don't have it with me because I've already given it to her, but I did dye another one of this, like my first full skein of this colorway to give to Sylvan. And she seemed to like it, so hopefully, hopefully she was not lying to me. And Sylvan, if you're watching this, please, I hope you actually like the yarn, and you are not just humoring me by saying that you liked it. So, okay, that's yarn dyeing, that's acquisitions. Let's talk about a giveaway winner, because I don't have a ton more time here. I need to get through the rest of this, but thank you all so much for the comments you left on my last podcast episode. It was so much fun to read them. I really, really enjoyed it, and just hearing all of your like thoughts and your feelings and joy about this craft, about this community, everything. Like, so many of the things that I was reading, I was just like, yes, I feel the same way. Completely agree with a lot of what y'all had to say. Some like highlights for me, just reading about how this craft is so comforting and like calming for so many people. I definitely feel the same way. It just feels like such a great, consistent piece of my life. Absolutely calming for my, mental health, for my, comfort, that, all of that, I totally agree with. So many of you shared. And then, of course, all of the stuff that you all had to say about the community aspect of this, just online knitting community. Being a part of it has been absolutely a joy, and like getting to connect with all of you. I think, yeah, the creativity and inspiration that I get from being a part of this community is just absolutely off the charts. Incredible. So much fun to be a part of. And yeah, I really appreciate you all kind of engaging in that with me. It was so much fun. So a reminder of what we're giving away here. I am giving away a Stripey turtle tank kit. This is a set that Melanie and I put together for the Stripey turtle tank release. And I am giving away, this is the Candy Shop set with Yume as the main color and some really fun pastel kind of colored mini skeins to make a Stripey turtle tank, or you can make whatever you want. You can hold on to it, and you can make a vest to match me as well if you want to. But right before I recorded this podcast, I went and I did the random comment selector website, whatever, and I will post the results on the screen. But the winner of the giveaway is Natalie Crinch. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but hopefully I am. So Natalie, congratulations, and thank you so much for your comment. I loved Natalie's comment. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I remember her saying that she was about to knit the Stripey turtle tank. So hopefully I can get this yarn on the way to you, and you can knit the Stripey turtle tank up in it if you would like. And then also, I loved in her comment, she mentioned my gentle, chaotic energy, which I remember as soon as I read that comment, I like ran and told my husband, I was like, this is a perfect description of my podcast, is gentle, chaotic energy. I loved that. So I thought that was so much fun. But anyway, Natalie, thank you so much. I'm not really sure how to get into contact with you on YouTube. So if you happen to follow me on Instagram, or even if not, just if you can find me on there at MWeKurt and send me a message. That way I can grab your address and send this over to you. If not, we'll try to figure something out. You can send me an email or something like that. Hopefully you see this, but I will, maybe I'll go through, I think I can tag you in a reply, like reply to your comment on the last episode. So maybe I'll try to do that. I'm unsure. Clearly I'm figuring this out as we go, but hopefully, Natalie, you and I can get in contact and I can send this yarn to you, and congratulations. I'm so excited for you, and I hope that you enjoy the yarn. And it is definitely tough to part with, but it is beautiful, and hopefully it makes something beautiful in your hands, in your crafting. So that is the giveaway winner. And, ooh, I forgot to mention in acquisitions, I actually have some fabric acquisitions as well that I wanted to talk about. So we'll just do that now, all over the place. Gentle, chaotic energy. I ordered some fabric to make a couple new things. If you guys have been here for a while, you know that I sew a little bit, but definitely not my main craft. I don't like it as much, and I do it much less frequently, but I like the things that I make, for the most part, I think. But I ordered from fabric.com a couple things. I ordered, excuse me, some gray corduroy because I want to make another pair of pants. So those of you that have been watching from the beginning, I made a pair of pants. I made the Miller trousers by, I don't remember the pattern, who it's by. Is it by Paper Theory? Maybe. I will try to link it below. But I want to make another pair of those pants with this gray corduroy. I think that will be really nice. And then I also got, I've been waiting forever for them to restock this fabric. I saw Jacqueline Salem had made something with this fabric and I loved it. And I really wanted to make my own things out of it. So I got this beautiful little like ditzy floral. I don't know what type of fabric this is. I'm not the kind of person who understands fiber content for fabric. That's just not who I am. I understand for yarn, but I'm like, oh, this feels nice. And I saw her make something and it had good drapes. So I'm going to order the same thing. And I don't remember what is in this, but I'm planning to make like a half circle skirt out of this fabric. And then also I think like a blousey top as well with like ruffle type sleeves, which I think will be really cute. And then I also got some waxed canvas. So this was actually sent and it was like on a tube and I was like, I can fold this because I'm making something out of it that I'm going to use. So it's definitely going to get those kind of like marks in it or whatever. So I was fine with it. So I just kind of took it out of the tube and I folded up. But I actually got the end of the bolt and I have no idea how much I got. I think I only ordered like half a yard. And this seems like a lot more than that. So I may be making more things out of it. But I got this originally to make the fringe field bag. They released a, so yeah, this is actually this bag right here. Fringe Supply Co. went out of business a little while ago. They stopped selling bags. And they released a sewing pattern to make their like super popular bag. And this one is actually waxed canvas as well. And it feels really similar to the waxed canvas I got. So I think I'm basically just trying to make this bag with this yellow, like mustard fabric. And I got the kit for it that includes the pattern and also some of the like little extra notions. So it has like this little loop and it has the cord that you put through here as well as like the little metal holes that you put in the pocket. I don't know if y'all can see that super well. So I may have enough to make multiple of those bags. I don't know what I would do with multiple mustard field bags. Maybe I'll like give one to a friend or I will make a different bag and have 2 mustard bags, but not 2 of the exact same bag. I'm not sure. But yes, so that's my fabric acquisition. Okay. Don't have a ton of time. There are so many other things I feel like I could talk to you all about. I think I could just sit here and just like chat about crafting and plants and food and life forever. But I think I'm done with the crafting content for now. And I'm going to move into some like food and life stuff. So if you're not interested in that, thank you for checking out this episode. And I hope to chat with you all soon. If you are interested in that, it has been a crazy cooking and baking basically just weekend. We did a ton of stuff. I actually had to make a food like list and schedule to figure out like how to get everything done. But we did our Sunday breakfast on Sunday and I actually made homemade sourdough croissants for the first time. So I'd made those like cruffins, if you guys remember I talked about a while ago. But I did basically the same dough, but I shaped it a different way and I didn't put the cinnamon sugar on the outside to make croissants. And they turned out okay. The outside texture I think was perfect. The inside was like a little bit doughy, so I don't know if I didn't bake them long enough or like if there was something weird, but they were like heavier than normal croissants. And my husband in office actually really liked that. He said he liked it better than a normal croissant. He probably was just saying that to be nice to me because that's his job because we're married. But
I don't personally think it was as good as a croissant that you would purchase at like a bakery. But it turned out okay. We were gonna make croissant sandwiches, like breakfast sandwiches, like slice them in half, put some egg, bacon, whatever on there. And one, we were impatient. They were like really hot, and we wanted to, you know, eat them right away. And so the slicing of them did not go super well. And then also because the inside was just like really dense, that was just not going to happen. So we ended up just eating them separately with some eggs and bacon, and it was really good. We also, on Saturday night, we made a ton of different types of dumplings. And that was really fun. We made some ricotta and smoked salmon dumplings. We made ground turkey gyoza, and then we also made potato and onion pierogies. All of them turned out great, but it took like 4 hours to make them all. Like, I don't know why. I was like, yeah, this will be quick. We can just like make dumplings. I'm like, no big deal. And then it took 4 hours. So that was an involved process, but super yummy. We also did another ice cream attempt. So we made our first dairy-free ice cream because we had some friends come over for the Super Bowl, and a couple of them are like a little sensitive to dairy. And so what we did was we made coconut milk-based ice cream. So we made like an orange sherbet, and it actually turned out super creamy and good. And it was probably the best texture of the ice creams we've ever made. And the flavor was amazing. It tasted like a creamsicle. I mean, it was so good. Just like orange, creamy, sweet, really, really good. So that turned out really good. Let's see what else. For Valentine's Day on Monday, Nafis and I made homemade pasta. We actually made homemade potato gnocchi, and we made some stuffed mushrooms, and we had like a creamy pesto with tomato gnocchi dinner date, and that was really, really yummy. I'm trying to think, what was that? That was kind of it for our, I mean, I feel like that was a lot, so maybe I shouldn't say that was, you know, that was it. But yeah, we had a really busy food weekend into Monday as well, and we're still just like eating leftovers from that because we made way too many dumplings. We're just going to be eating dumplings forever, so that was really good. Super Bowl was fun to come over and to have friends come over and watch that. I've also been watching the Olympics some. I'm definitely really into the Olympics. I always watch the Olympics a lot. Just like being a sport person and also being a person who likes to sit and knit while I watch things, I think the Olympics is perfect for that. But I've been like trying, like I'm behind because I've been really busy. So I've been watching the primetime shows, but like the replays later. And so I'm still like 5 days behind or something, but I just keep watching like the next one. And I've been getting like spoilers about what's been happening, which is fine. I don't really care, but that I really enjoyed and has been fun. But I won't say anything about it because I don't want to give spoilers for any of you that have not watched it at all and want to watch in the way that I'm watching. Let's see, what else? I don't have a ton of time here, so I'll just wrap up by saying this weekend my parents are coming to visit. It's President's Day on Monday, and so my parents have their work off, and so they're coming to visit this weekend, and that's going to be really fun. I'm not really sure what we're going to do yet because the weather's not supposed to be very good here, but really excited for them to be here. And I also got a new plant. So I told you guys about my new plant subscription, and I got my next one, and it looks a little sad. I haven't repotted it yet. This one got battered in the mail a little more. It actually had more leaves on it, but they fell off in the mail, and this one looks sad. I'm gonna leave it for now, but it may have to go as well. But this is a Peperomia Thailand. I think I'm saying that right. And it honestly seems pretty similar to my first subscription plant, which was a grape ivy. So it has a little bit of the thicker leaves, and it actually looks like it has some variegation in the leaves as well. So hopefully I'll get more leaves. I'll repot it, and it'll be happy and make more leaves. And yeah, I'll give you guys an update on that. My other one, my grape ivy, actually I should grab it and show it to you right now. Yeah, so this is my grape ivy, and this is the new plant that I got last month in my plant subscription, and it has a couple of these new leaves. I don't know if you guys can see this very well. Probably not, but these ones here, like 1, 2, 3, these are all new. So it's doing really well. It seems like it's a happy plant, happy in its new home. And hopefully the same fate is ahead for this one. So, yeah, that's all I have. that is all I have to talk about, I think. I mean, there's probably more, but that's all I'm going to talk about because I need to get going for the day. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And congratulations, Natalie. I will try to get in contact with you about your winnings. And yeah, I think that's all I've got. So I hope to chat with you all again soon. It may be a little bit since it's going to be a busy time for me for a while, but in the meantime, I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball and have a great week. Bye.